If she's on your mind without any contact, there's something deeper happening here than you might realize. You haven't spoken in weeks, maybe months, yet she appears in your thoughts like clockwork. You're going about your day, focused on work or whatever demands your attention, and suddenly, there she is again, occupying space in your mind that you thought you'd cleared out. Why does this happen? Why does someone you're not even talking to have this kind of mental real estate? The answer isn't what most people think, and understanding it might change how you see not just this situation, but yourself. Most people will tell you it's simple obsession, or that you just need to move on. But that's surface level thinking. What's really happening goes much deeper into how your mind processes unfinished emotional business. Think about it. When was the last time you couldn't stop thinking about a conversation that ended naturally? When both people said what they needed to say, when there was closure, when things felt complete? Probably never. Your mind doesn't linger on finished stories. But when something ends abruptly, when words go unsaid, when questions remain unanswered, your brain treats it like an incomplete task. There's actually a psychological principle called the Zeigarnik Effect that explains this perfectly. Your mind has trouble letting go of unfinished business. It keeps circling back, trying to complete the story, trying to fill in the blanks. She's on your mind because part of you is still trying to solve the puzzle of what happened between you two. Your brain is essentially running background processes, like a computer trying to complete a download that got interrupted. But here's where it gets more complex. It's not just about closure. If it were only about needing answers, you'd probably reach out and get them. The fact that you haven't suggests something else is at play. You're caught between two competing forces. One part of you wants resolution, wants to understand, wants to reconnect. The other part of you knows on some level that reaching out might not lead where you want it to go. Maybe you're protecting yourself from rejection. Maybe you're avoiding a conversation that could confirm your worst fears about why things ended. So instead of facing the uncertainty of contact, your mind chooses the certainty of fantasy. In your thoughts, you can control the narrative. You can imagine conversations where she responds the way you hope she would. You can replay memories and focus on the good parts. You can construct scenarios where everything works out perfectly. This mental space becomes safer than reality because reality involves risk. Reality means she might not respond. Reality means she might tell you things you don't want to hear. Reality means accepting that sometimes people walk away and don't look back. But here's what's really happening underneath all of this. When someone occupies your thoughts without contact, they often represent something unresolved within yourself. She's not just herself in your mind, she's become a symbol of something you feel you're missing, or something you believe you need to feel complete. Maybe she represents acceptance you never felt you had. Maybe she represents a version of yourself you liked when you were with her. Maybe she represents possibilities you're afraid you'll never have again with someone else. This is why moving on isn't as simple as just stopping the thoughts. You're not just trying to stop thinking about a person, you're trying to resolve deeper questions about your own worth, your own lovability, your own future. The thoughts persist because they're serving a function, even if it's not a healthy one. They're keeping alive a story where you matter to someone who mattered to you. They're maintaining a connection that feels safer than the vulnerability of forming new ones. But here's the thing about this mental loop you're stuck in. It's not actually helping you process or heal. It's keeping you suspended in a state of emotional limbo. You're not moving forward, but you're not getting closure either. You're just spinning your wheels in the same emotional space. Real healing, real moving forward, requires you to face the discomfort of uncertainty. It requires you to accept that some stories don't get neat endings. Some people leave without explanation. Some connections end not because anyone did anything wrong, but because that's just how life works sometimes. The person on your mind, the one you're not contacting, probably doesn't know she's taking up this much space in your thoughts. She's likely moved forward with her life, dealing with her own challenges, focused on her own growth. While you're stuck analyzing every detail of your shared history, she might barely think about it at all. This isn't meant to hurt you. It's meant to wake you up. You're giving someone who's absent from your life more attention than people who are present in it. You're investing emotional energy in someone who isn't investing it back, at least not in any way you can access or benefit from. So what do you do with this realization? How do you break free from this mental pattern that's keeping you stuck? First, acknowledge what's really happening. You're not just missing her, you're avoiding something. Maybe you're avoiding the work of building new connections. Maybe you're avoiding dealing with whatever made the relationship end in the first place. Maybe you're avoiding accepting that you're worthy of love that doesn't require you to chase or wonder or analyze. Second, redirect that mental energy. Every time you catch yourself thinking about her, Ask yourself what you're avoiding in your present life. What conversation aren't you having? What opportunity aren't you taking? What growth aren't you pursuing? The thoughts about her are often a distraction from the work you need to do on yourself and your current life. They're comfortable because they're familiar, but they're not productive. Third, practice acceptance without action. You can accept that she was important to you, that the connection mattered, that losing it was painful without needing to do anything about it. Acceptance doesn't require contact. It doesn't require resolution. It just requires you to let the story be what it is, incomplete ending and all. Finally, invest in your present. The best way to stop living in the past is to create a present worth your attention. Build relationships with people who are available and interested. Pursue goals that excite you. Engage with life in a way that gives your mind better things to focus on than what might have been. She's on your mind because you're letting her stay there. Not because you're weak or obsessed, but because some part of you believes holding on to those thoughts serves you. It doesn't. It's time to let go, not because she wasn't worth remembering, but because you're worth more than spending your mental energy on someone who's moved on from your story. Your thoughts belong to you. Choose what deserves to occupy them.